next topic is going to be very, very interesting. Amer Mohammed is from Stena Line and he's head of digital innovation. Och jag kommer switcha till svenska, i och med att Amer kommer att prata svenska också. Men innovation är ett sätt att anpassa sig till en ny verklighet. Att göra innovationslabb och proof of concepts. Om det funkar eller inte funkar. Men när det funkar, att kunna snabbt rulla ut nya saker in i organisationen. Där ligger oftast just en labb och en proof of concept arbete väldigt, väldigt bra till. Artificiell intelligens är ett exempel på hur Stena Line jobbar med ny teknologi för att öka effektiviteten och ta bättre beslut. Amer jobbar med att sätta upp strategi, mäta effektivitet, fostra analytisk kultur på Stena Line. Då det digitala utvecklingslandskapet utvecklas så snabbt så fångar Amer de digitala möjligheter som finns, lägger dem i en strategisk kontext, vilka prioriteringar som behöver göras och om inte digitalt får ett stöd så kommer inte det hjälpa företaget mot resan dit det vill nå. Så att det viktiga är att förstå att digitalt måste få ett stöd från ledningen och det kommer vi höra mer om nu när Amer Mohammed kommer upp på scenen.
Hello.
Välkommen.
Why should I speak Swedish? Everyone speaks Swedish here? Or everyone understands Swedish? Not everybody. Only, yeah. No. Then it's English. No, don't worry. So, yes, hello. My name is Amer Mohammed, and as mentioned, I work with digital innovation at Stena Line. Does everyone know who Stena Line is? Yeah, so we operate the ferries in many places in Europe. And I will talk about this a little bit later. It's a funny image. Before I continue, I just want to explain why I am the way I am. And that's because I've never really been employed before. This is the first time. So I've always had my own companies, still have. And after selling my last company 3 years ago, I was headhunted to Stena to help them with their transformation. And I don't know about you, but coming from the startup world and then hearing Stena is like, do you want to work for the IRS? It wasn't jiving with me, but I met with them and having just sold a company and didn't really need a job. I was very cocky and honest about what I think about big companies and their problem and their arrogance and so on. The sort of arrogance I'm showing right now. And just like after 2 hours, they called me and said, yeah, you want to help us? So that's my way in. And before I accepted the job, one of the first thing I said is that you need to change your mission statement to this. And back then, this was crazy. Everyone was laughing at me. But now the new mission statement officially of Stena Line is the world's first cognitive ferry operator. And cognitive is basically the same thing. They just want a fancier word because if they take mine, then I'm the originator. So if the board uses something else, then it's their idea. So I will explain a little bit about what this means. But first, why? My personal belief is that whatever in history, what has driven humanity and society forward is technological breakthroughs. This is an extreme example, very general, but you can see some examples here. I mean, just look at electricity, look at penicillin. I think penicillin alone increased the average lifespan with 10 years. And it took previously almost 4,000 years to increase 10 years. Penicillin did that in 15 years. So it's an extreme jump. So it's always technology driving humanity forward. And the next big one, which is bigger than all the previous ones combined, are artificial intelligence. And this is because currently we are in the information age. We've been that since like the microprocessor. But now when information and computing and cloud and everything is becoming a commodity, even machine learning, we are moving over to the experience age. And this is very, very important to understand as a company. Because, we have in one of our terminals, I think this is in somewhere in England. I should know that, but I don't really care. So we have a competitor, and we share the terminal. So if I want to make this woman in white stripes go over to the other side, I don't know. I mean, I could tell her that we have very good financial controllers. I don't think she gives a shit. We could tell her that we use some kind of cool new programming language. She doesn't care about that either. Or that we are very good in operations and Excel. None of that will jive with her, I think. I haven't tested it, but I assume. But if we tell her that the experience and show her that the experience with our brand is much better than our competitors, that will push her over to our side. And this is why experience is so important now. And it's not just the experience with TT Line. I mean, if two teenagers in San Francisco release a new app with some kind of interaction that no one has thought of, then they expect the same kind of interaction in our app. They don't care that this company is social company and we are in the shipping industry. They don't care about that. They just say, okay, it's easy here, I want it easy here. So that's very important to understand. So when to do this transformation, most companies, they start with this. They want to take action immediately. And when I joined Stena Line almost 2 years ago, it was the same thing. There were discussions about actions, and they had consultants involved. And I think it's like 824 PDF documents generated with specifications that no one reads. But still, they didn't know what to do. And this is because you cannot start with the actions. You need to understand that before actions, you need to have insights. So you understand what to take actions on. But before you can get any insights, you need to collect your data. It doesn't matter if you think the data is important or not. Every data needs to be collected and put in one place. So to make people understand this, I work in visuals. I'm not a data scientist. I'm not some kind of PhD or something. I'm not very smart. But I use visuals a lot, and I like to explain what I'm talking about with images and movies. And to explain this data aspect and why it's important, I did a movie and I want to show it to you now.
People's lives are the result of the choices they make. Choices based on needs. For us at Stena Line, knowing our customers' needs has always been a top priority on the basis of our service offering. This is Jenna. Jenna is a customer. At Stena, we want to please everyone. We want to connect with our customers in the most relevant way, understanding their needs so that we can enhance their experience. But even our best intentions fade in the noise. So our way forward is not only understanding their digital patterns, but also predicting their next move. To get to know them better. To do so, we need to shift focus from opinions to facts, facts to insights, insights to actions. Our way forward is not only a system, not simply a tool, it's you. It's us. It's together, being creative and feeling enabled. This is Jenna. Jenna is our customer.
So as you can see in that movie, we never really talk about technologies and any tech words or anything like that. This is just about understanding, changing the people's mindset. That I don't really care about people's opinions about things. Either they are God, then I trust them, or they bring numbers and facts. Before they give, I don't care if you're the CEO or not. You need to have facts, otherwise it's just a hypothesis. And we can try an hypothesis, but it's not a law. And that's very important to understand. So Pluto is nothing else than a database in the cloud, but with a cool name and a movie, it becomes much cooler. And also it's easier for the board and the top management to remember, you know, stuff like this. If you tell them we need a database or a data lake, they don't understand what it is. But if you tell them Pluto, they will remember this name, and they will, you know, I don't know what CEOs does, but if they in the sauna sometime with a cigar, you know, and talk to their CEO friends, and they will say, yeah, you know, we have Pluto, it's the latest. They don't really know what it is, but they remember the name. So that was data. So we got that covered. Now, when we have that, it took almost 1.5 years to sync all the data that the company is generating up to the cloud. And I know many people ask me, how did you get approval to do that? Because of, you know, internal politics and all that kind of bullshit. I mean, if you allow the discussion, it will be a discussion. But if you just do it, then there's no discussion. So you just do it, and then people find out, and then I'll give you an argument that works very well. So the head of security, we had a big meeting because people found out I synced financial data to the cloud. And they asked, you know, the standard arguments, oh, it's not secure, blah, 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 blah. So I told them, okay, let's do this. Let's all in this room bet 1 year's salary. Everyone gets to hire a hacker, and my hacker will hack our networks, and you can hack Microsoft's networks. And let's see who loses. I mean, Microsoft spends $1.6 billion on security every year. That's like our turnover. How can we beat that? That's impossible. They know security, we know shipping. There's no reason for us to fight with them when it comes to security, just because we have a dusty firewall in the basement. That just doesn't make sense. So now when you have this data in one place, now comes my favorite competence, data science. This is when you bring in the nerds, and I don't mean nerds as an insult, it's a highly compliment. And they start analyzing and seeing trends and understanding how things work and so on. Finding patterns using different machine learning techniques and so on. And it's not about, you know, reinventing the wheel here. We use many open source libraries and so on. There is no point in creating our own machine learning algorithms for certain tasks when Google and Facebook and all those companies have open sourced everything almost. And once we have those insights, we go into action. And I noticed one thing when I was starting to talk about, to talk around in the organization about taking actions on certain things. I noticed that most people don't understand that everything is connected. We have a project upgrading the HR systems, and then we have a project about connecting the tugmaster. Do you know what a tugmaster is? It's like a small truck that pulls the container onto the ship. So when I go to HR and then I tell them, did you talk to the port operations? And they say, what? What do we have to do with port operations? I said, yeah, but if we connect the tugmasters and then we simulate the port flow and then we can predict how many employees we will have, then we want to send it to the HR systems so it goes out to the employees. And people don't get that everything is connected. There is no point in doing that manual when you connect everything. So I did another movie to explain that, and I will show it to you now.
Oranges, sweet fruits, but only when picked at the right time. They ripen just as long as they are on their branches. If they stay too long, they grow over-mature. But what decides when the oranges are ready for harvest? The tree, the soil, the skin, a taste of juice from a sample? It's all of this, and interestingly enough, this in turn will affect us at Stena Line a great deal. Let's talk a little bit about what we call the digital butterfly effect. Life is full of choices. Each choice generates a new path. Each path produces a different outcome. Some of these paths are born out of chaos, like a coffee mug being spilled, giving a busy mother a thought, lingering in her head, making her take action later on. But many of these choices can be calculated through the information we send out, consciously as well as unconsciously. What if, in this world of chaotic coincidences and chance decisions, we can sort out the information useful to us, make out patterns and take action based on that information, not by trying to figure things out, but by observing the world around us. Gathering bits of information here and there. Letting that information socialize with other bits of information, merging into a whole, enabling us to see the big perspectives, as well as the smallest individuals. Those small bits may seem unimportant to some, therefore often overlooked, can end up making a big difference to someone else. The butterfly effect states that the flap of a butterfly's wings in Japan can stir up a hurricane in Canada. One minor and seemingly unrelated change in one piece of information can have a widespread impact on a future state. What we do is simply to acknowledge this fact and adapt to it, using our insights to find out more. Because the more we know about how the world works today, the more accurately we can predict what will happen tomorrow. And then we will not be sitting on our asses guessing, oh no, we won't. Then we will know, and once we know, we can go to action. Everything is connected. We just need to open our eyes.
So, this is an example where I wanted to explain that we cannot just work in silos and think that if we just upgrade something, we can just upgrade it and then don't mind about the rest of the organization. The whole company, all processes are connected. And there is no point doing things manual. So this is a system that we call the trade management intelligence. And I will explain a little bit what it does. And it has to do with the action part. So today, I'll give you one example because we don't have time to explain all. But today, for instance, we have trade managers that are trying to predict how many passengers will we have. So this is one of our departures, one of our routes, Holyhead, Dublin. And trade managers, they usually predict around 90–91% accuracy for 1 month into the future. And this is important for us to understand because a different number of passengers requires different service levels. So if we have 500 passengers, we need service level 3. If we have 1,000 passengers, we need service level 4. And different service levels means different amount of staff. It's a security thing. It's like a law. And the union doesn't allow us to call them the day before and say, okay, you're working tomorrow. So you have to give them a notice in advance, like 1 month or so. So we just sometimes guess, and then we take in too much staff, and then they get to stay at home, and we pay them still. Yeah. So that's the problem. So we collected all the data, and then we started predicting. So the first model had an average accuracy of 93%, but 90 days into the future, not only 1 month. And this helps us understand not only how many passengers, but also which segment will they belong to, and also what do they usually buy. And this is now in the next step being connected to our warehouse, so the warehouse can restock automatically. So we can just ship it to the ship. And then when we have autonomous trucks, then we don't have any human touch involved. It sounds like I want to fire everyone, but that's not the point. I want to move people from sitting in Excel killing their soul 8 hours a day to being creative with customers solving problems. So it's not about, it's actually the opposite. It's about increasing the number of people. And this took 6 weeks for the model to understand. For us, it took 56 years. So there's a huge difference there. I know this is like 2 months old, so I'm pretty sure it's higher now, but it's the team who works with that. Another thing we're focusing on now that we're automating some stuff is that we released a chatbot. And I know this is important to understand, and this is typical big company mentality. The chatbot is something which is, it's a gimmick that barely works, but that's not the point. The point is that we as an organization will train ourselves in using these kind of technologies, and also in the same time observing our customers and how their behavior is changing with these new kind of technologies. So that when some wise guy cracks this in 2-3 years, we'll be ready to implement it immediately because we've done our 10,000 hours. You heard about the 10,000 hour rule? Yeah. So this is not only for individuals, it's the same rule for big organizations. You need to do your 10,000 hours before you can be good at anything. So this is, Stena is supposed to be that. And what Stena is doing right now, you can go into Facebook Messenger if you want to try it out, Stena chatbot. But the main thing Stena is solving for us today is she's answering emails. So all the Swedish emails that come to us, they go through Stena. And then if Stena cannot answer, she sends it to a customer agent. Most of our emails are simple, like, can I bring my hamster? Or do you have parking? Or do you have toilets at the terminal? You know, those kind of questions. 80% of our questions are like that. So that's like 800,000 emails a year, one-liners. So it's very simple for Stena to answer that. And Stena is also a preparation for us, because I believe in a future where, just like today, when you want to fly, you don't go to SAS or KLM. You go to Momondo or Expedia or whatever, those aggregating sites. Because you don't care if it's SAS or KLM. You just specify the time, and yeah, that's basically the time. And if you're price sensitive, you just say, I want the cheapest. And then if it's Arab Emirates or SAS, it doesn't really matter. And I think this will go even further when everyone has their own personal assistant in 2023 or whatever it might be. I just tell my Siri or Alexa, whatever is relevant in the future, I want to go to Denmark, I want to be there by 9 o'clock tomorrow. And then I don't care if it's Hyperloop or horse or boat, I don't care. So that's why this is what we believe in. So another thing we're doing also, we're launching, we're doing this together with a Hollywood studio actually. We're releasing an augmented reality game. You know Pokemon, like Pokemon? So now with the Apple's AR kit and Google's AR core, they just completely made it a commodity. I think Pokemon Go costed like $70 million to develop. We did a demo for like $7,000, thanks to Apple AR kit. And this is something that we're releasing next year. And it's actually pretty fun. I played it. So what you do is you buy a ticket in our app, and then immediately as you bought the ticket, the camera starts. And then you see this octopus attacking you in your living room. And then, you know, so the experience starts already in the living room. So that's also important to understand, that the experience is not only on the ship. It's, you know, when they buy the ticket until you come home. And then you go to the terminal, and then you try to kill it there, and then you go to the ship, and so on. It's very fun. So this is one of the games. There will be many for different targets. We're rebuilding one of our ships in January. And one of the things that I'm really excited about is we're going to try, have you seen Amazon Go, the concept? Yeah. So it's like you just go in and you pick stuff and you go out. Like you saw in the video I showed you. So there is a company in Australia that is doing this. So we will install cameras in the roof that we'll test it on these cafeterias. You could just pick things and put on the plate and then just walk away. And then we will charge you from the app. So this is very exciting. It works very well, surprisingly well. We've tried different things like putting a cap on it and hiding it and so on. So it's cool. Yeah, so these are the steps we're taking on board. We're also thinking about replacing the online retail shop completely with a virtual shop. So you pick things up when you arrive at your destination instead of carrying it around on the ship. Oh, yeah, that's it. Thank you.